DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk about value and increasing your value and why it's such an important topic, especially these days in the world that we're living in right now. I don't know how much y'all pay attention to current events. We're not even gonna call it news, we'll just say current events. But right now, it's been a news item going on, current event item going on, that there's a shortage of baby formula, so people can't even feed their babies. And I just read this article in the Wall Street Journal this morning that right here in Miami, in the downtown area of Miami, any of you know this area, where I live. I've lived in this area for a long time, more than 10 years, but the prices to live in this area have gone up like crazy. They've gone up like 60%, 50 to 60% over the last year. And that's even with, all the shutdowns and all that stuff, the value and the price to live in this area is going up because a lot of people have come into this area and just people who are willing to spend more money. So the competition to even get housing around here has increased significantly. And I don't I get my meals delivered, but for those of you who do a lot of grocery shopping, especially if you got a big family and you make your food and you look up recipes and all that stuff, you probably noticed, because I've heard people talking about this, that the cost of groceries has gone up. So even to get fruits and vegetables and pastas and whatever it is you buy for your family, the price of that stuff has increased significantly over the last few months. So in other words, the cost just to live life has increased a lot. And the thing is, of course, we've heard the conversations over the years, a lot of people talking about, well, we need to increase, the salaries of people who work at entry-level jobs, like something like Starbucks or McDonald's or a UPS worker and things like that. The thing is, here's the thing that people need to understand, is that also another thing I didn't even mention was inflation. Inflation is when the value of a dollar just becomes less. So what you used to be able to buy with a dollar, it just buys less things now than it used to be capable of purchasing. Like if you talk to your grandmothers or something like that, they'll tell you how they used to go to the movies and it was like 25 cents to go to the movies and you can get a candy bar for a nickel. Nowadays, it costs like 20 times more than that, right? We all understand that. Here's the thing that you have to understand. As the cost of living and the cost of life goes up, first of all, it's an inevitable thing. This is not something that just randomly happens because somebody did something bad or somebody made some kind of mistake, or it only happens because there's some kind of a war going on the other side of the world or something like that. This is something that continually happens over time in life. The cost of living increases. The value of a dollar goes down. This is an inevitability of life and living. I'm telling you that not to give you a lesson on economics, but you kind of could say this is a lesson on economics. Here's the lesson. Not that the value of a dollar goes down, because that's something that always happened. You didn't need me to tell you that. Hopefully you didn't. Is that your value needs to increase at an equal or faster rate than the value of a dollar is going down. Let me say that one more time. Your value, meaning what you bring to the marketplace, whether you have a job, you run a business, you got an OnlyFans, whatever it is that you're doing, your value in the marketplace needs to be going up at the same rate that the cost of life is increasing and the value of a dollar is decreasing. And that's at least if you live in the United States of America and you're using dollars. Now, whatever world you're living in, you can just swap out dollars with whatever it costs, whatever the currency is, wherever you live, whether it's the euro, the yen, whatever. All you get the point that I'm making here, do you not? Your value is measured in what people are willing to exchange for what you offer in the marketplace. So if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, if you sell cars, if you are bagging groceries at the local grocery store, whatever it is that you're doing, you got to be getting better continuously. And when I say getting better, let me be clear. Getting better does not just mean you think you're better now than you were 2 weeks ago. Getting better means the amount that someone is willing to pay for your goods or your services or your products. The amount of money somebody's willing to pay in order to have you in the room needs to increase at the same rate that it costs you more money to pay rent at your apartment. The same rate that it costs you more money to get on a plane and fly and go on vacation. At the same rate that your dollar is worth 15% less now than it was worth 10 years ago. You got to be getting better in that way, in a measurable way, the same way that the increase in cost for you to live your life is going up in a measurable way. So, to give you an example, I just came, when I'm recording this, I just came from Philly, my hometown. I was there for a few days this past week. Went to a Sixers game, their last win of the season, and traveled around, went to a bunch of places, rented a car, had an Airbnb, all that stuff. The cost of all that stuff is higher now than it was 2 years ago. And that's the game that we're in. Knowing this is what I got to understand. My value of the things that I sell when I'm in business, when I'm at work, it needs to be increasing to keep up with the pace of the increased cost of living life. My phone just fell now, but now I got it back up. Is either that or the other thing is I can downsize my life. Those are only two options you got. And some people might say, well, I'll just downsize my life, Dre, to keep up with the cost of the inflation and the way that the cost of life is changing at all times. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you read any books on finance, people tell you all the time, live frugally, spend less than you earn, all of that stuff, all good. Here's the challenge with doing that, though, that I want to just warn you about. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do, but here's the challenge that you might want to keep in mind is that if you keep downsizing the way that you live every time the cost of living goes up, eventually there's not going to be anything left to downsize because the cost of living is not going to stop increasing. Even if you don't live in a place like Miami where the cost of living is increasing probably faster than other places, or you don't live in Manhattan or San Francisco where it's going up faster than everywhere else. The national average increase in the cost of living went up 15% over the last year, went up 60% in Miami, went up 15% everywhere else, which means no matter where you live, the cost of living is going up. It just might be increasing faster or slower depending on where you're at, which means if you're going to downsize and downgrade your lifestyle every time the cost of life goes up, eventually you're going to downgrade to the point where ain't nothing left to downgrade. You're going to have to, instead of cutting out from the bottom, you got to add to the top. You understand what I'm saying? Don't just focus on the bottom line, focus on the top line. How can I increase my resources so I don't have to keep downgrading my life? You increase your resources, then you don't have to keep downgrading yourself in everything that you do. And how do you do this? Increasing your value overall in the marketplace is figuring out, I talked about this in the video on results-based business. What does the marketplace want from you? Again, what does the marketplace want from you? And how can you give them what they want? When you give the marketplace what they want, the marketplace will give you what you want. Zig Ziglar said it. Give people what they want, they give you everything you want, and I do mean everything. Your job is to study the game. The game is the business that you're in, the industry that you're in, the world that you work in, the people that you serve, the clients who you help and the customers who buy from you. That's the game that you're in. The game is not everything that's going on in the world. You don't need to know about everything that's going on. You need to know about what you're doing and what you have going on. You need to know exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're working on, and you need to figure out, all right, how can I give the world what they want from me so that they're willing to give me what I want from them? And based on what you're giving them now, how can I give them what I'm giving them now and a little bit more so that they're willing to give me a little bit more so that you can keep up? This is a life lesson because, as I told you, this is going to keep happening. This is not going to stop. Now, we might get to a point where we have a recession, which we had maybe 10, 15 years ago. There was a recession where the cost of certain things went up and the cost of certain things went down. I remember I was in Miami at that time. And the cost to live in Miami at that time was extremely low. It was like half, basically what I'm paying now. I had a probably a bigger place that cost half as much as what I'm paying right now. That was the case during the recession, but at the same time, gas was higher, groceries were higher, and people were spending less money, so you had less resources to throw around. So all of this stuff kind of works in a cycle, but the bottom line is, here's the point, because it's not really about economics. It's about you always increasing your value in the marketplace, and that is not based on what you personally think in your opinion. It's based on what the people you serve want, and you giving them what they want. Give them more of what they want, make it better, help them get more of the result that they want, not that you want to give them, that they want. And people will be willing to pay you more. You'll have more resources, and then you get to the point that even when there's a recession, even when there's inflation, even when the cost of living goes up or the value of certain things you have goes down, you will not be so strongly affected. You'll be affected in some way, but you won't be so strongly affected that it's stopping you from living your life. That's the mindset that I want to put you in. I'm not telling you specifically what to do here. The mindset I'm putting you in is keep increasing your value so that as more demands are put on your resources, you have the resources to meet those demands. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? All that said, text me so you can get my daily motivation for free every day. My number is 305-384-6894. Every day when I send out the daily motivation, that's a message guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. You'll be getting it straight to your phone. Work on your game. Dre all day.